What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to, I guess, a frustrating player ratings video here on Anfield Agenda. After Liverpool and Newcastle have drawn 3-3 at St James's Park, a result that cuts Liverpool's lead at the top of the Premier League to just a mere 7 points. A mere 7, everybody. Sure, it's over. What's the point in even trying anymore? Well, if you read some of our chat, that's how you'd feel. I, on the other hand, am for once the optimist here. It was a game that we could have done a lot better in many areas. Of course it was. I'm going to go through, give the referee a score, the players a score, the manager a score, and ask you guys to play along at home as well. Some of you have already submitted your player ratings to us. They will be included in this video. Connor has put them all together and averaged them out. So what you're going to see is the average audience score in the little upper corner of the player image and my score in the bigger square. We are, of course, today being brought to you on every match day with thanks to our incredible sponsors, Manscaped. A little reminder of what you can see on the screen there now. Why not treat yourself to the all-new Performance Package 5.0 Ultra this Christmas from our friends at Manscaped. It features the Lawnmower 5.0, the Weed Whacker Ear and Nose Hair Trimmer, Manscaped 2 liquid formulations, and a couple of free gifts as well. The Shed Travel Bag and the Boxer Briefs. That can be yours with 20% off and free shipping store-wide with our unique code Anfield20. Scan the QR code in the bottom corner or use that at checkout. Right, let's get into talking about the referee, shall we? Because I don't have too many good things to say about Mr. Andy Madley. Now, I want to say something very clearly. I'm not blaming the referee for the result at all, but that still doesn't mean he didn't have a shocker of a game. For instance, every time we fouled, apparently it was a yellow. Newcastle, a little bit different. The Diaz penalty incident, I feel that was a penalty. The handball, look, I shouted for it at the time, of course I did. But I have to say, with the rules in the Premier League this season and the way that we've seen them interpreted, okay, I can understand that one. But the Diaz one, that really has me wound up. That and the fact that I thought he was just a terrible referee means that I have given him today a score of 4. And you guys have gone even lower, giving Andy Madley a score of just 2.6. Next up, we move to Caoimhín Kelleher. And look, this is a very difficult one to score because other than that last couple of moments, we're probably talking about another 8 or 9 here for Caoimhín. But we can't not talk about the elephant in the room, which was, of course, the mistake, which means the game ends in a draw. Now, we got to be careful here not to throw the baby out with the bathwater because he had a mistake, yes, but he's earned it. So let's not go in and take cheap shots here. He'll know he did the wrong thing. We know it. I know it. We know it. But ultimately, it is what it is. We've got to move on. When a goalkeeper makes a mistake, more often than not, it becomes a major moment. So, you know, I feel for Caoimhín at this moment. But, again, I don't know why he was flapping at that and why he didn't grab it. Or, I don't know. You could see what he was trying to do, right? He was trying to either put off the player. But you also got to say Shar's finish was quite good as well. But there is no getting away from it. It was a mistake. So, have to dock him points for that one. So I've given him a score of 7. You guys have gone to a 5.2. Maybe you feel he could have done a bit better with the second one as well, which I can understand. But, you know, I'm trying to protect my boy here a little bit as well. So next up, we move to Jarell QUANSAH, and I am still astonished that the manager chose to play him at right back. I don't get it. The only thing I can think of is that he thought playing Gomez along Virgil is the way to go to build that partnership. But you've got somebody in Gomez who's played at right back, is comfortable at right back. And QUANSAH, he was brought on for a few minutes against City and didn't look that comfortable. And yet, he kept him out there. And not only that, he took Gomez off when QUANSAH was on a book. And there was just a couple of decisions there I didn't agree with. But that all being said, QUANSAH was nowhere near the level today. And it happens with young players. They come in, burst onto the scene, and then they get reintroduced again. Their form dips a little. So this is where you look at bringing in that experience. This is why you need another centre-back. This is why our owners are cheap. For moments like this, when we are struggling, when we have got an injury and we're relying on youth again. So I've given Jarell today a score of 3. You guys have gone a bit higher. I think you've been overly generous, to be honest. I think it was an absolute stinker. So I'm being honest with my score. Next up, we move on to Joe Gomez, who equally had as terrible a game. And the writing was on the wall for Joe in the first half when he was misplacing passes, under hitting back passes, getting brushed off the ball. Again, this was night and day from the Joe Gomez that we'd seen against Manchester City. But then again, Newcastle put it up to us a lot more than City did. So for me today, I'm giving Joe a score of 4. And you guys have gone a little bit higher with a 4.9. Let me just say though, overall today, defensively, just not good enough. The right side, we looked particularly vulnerable at all points until Trent came on. But then I thought we looked a little bit better. The captain, Virgil van Dijk, well, he has to be somewhat accountable for this as well, because how many times do we give away these stupid free kicks on the edges of boxes and they end up costing us? Or we just get lucky with somebody who's very slightly offside. We are very vulnerable from these set pieces, but yeah, we keep giving them out. So many of them. So Virgil today, I think, has to take some responsibility. I get there was fatigue in there, but again, defensively, we just were not good enough. And we haven't said that too often this season. So Virgil today, for me, gets a score of 6, and the Anfield Agenda audience have gone a little bit higher, giving Virgil a 6.3. Next up, Andy Robertson. This is the one I struggle to score, actually. There's always one every game for me I struggle with. I thought Robbo was, again, culpable as much as any rest of the defence, but certainly was better than on the right-hand side than we played there. So with Robbo today, again, I could be wrong on this, so feel free to let me know in the comments if I am. I have gone for a 5.5, and the audience have gone for a 5.9. Next up, Gravenberch. Again, I spoke many times over the summer and at the start of the season about fatigue, about the fact that we cannot expect Ryan to play every single game throughout the entire season. We need depth of squad. We need to bring in another midfielder. I am a little bit confused as to why maybe Wataru Endo wasn't brought off the bench today when we got into that lead. That's a talk for another day, but Gravenberch, I don't think he played particularly badly. Did pick up a booking, but ultimately we just weren't at the races for long periods of that game. So Gravenberch gets a score of 6 for me. You guys are going a little bit lower with a score, an average of 5.6. Now we move on to Alexis McAllister, who, just to confirm, will be suspended for the Merseyside derby. He picked up a yellow card today. I actually thought that he was one of the few players in the first half that looked like he had the effort required. He hit the post, he forced Pope into a good save, ultimately ended up seeing out the match and is suspended for the next one. Look, I don't know on this. It's a tough one. I'm going to go for a 7 and hope that I'm not too far off with it. It's always difficult for me trying to process it all so quickly because you've got the emotions at the end of the game and you're trying to just figure it out. I didn't think he was too bad today. Certainly one of our better performers. So the 7 for me feels warranted, and you guys have gone a little bit lower with an average of 6.6. Now I should point out that if in the future you want to contribute to the player ratings, just keep an eye out for a link pinned to the top of the chat during our match reactions, and you'll be able to click on that, fill out a form and get yourself all sorted out. Right, Curtis Jones, very good. Very good performance once again, I should say, for Curtis. Great goal to get us back into the game as well. Obviously we'll speak about Mo in a while, and you know his impact in that game today is clear for all to see. But Curtis Jones is one of the few, I think, that can certainly leave there with his head held high. A very good goal to get us back into the game. So Curtis, I've given an 8.5. You guys, a little bit lower, 7. Cody Gakpo. Again, I feel like he should start against Everton and maybe put Diaz through the centre. I thought Cody was okay today, whilst never really catching fire in the game. We seemed to have a bit more joy than the right-hand side when we did get at that Newcastle defence. So for Cody, I've given him a 7. And you guys feel I'm being a bit too generous there because the Anfield Agenda audience have gone for a 5.9. Mohamed Salah. Now, I didn't give him a 10 because the first half he wasn't really in the game as much as we would have liked him to. But in the second half, wow, he was phenomenal everywhere. Hitting the post with another effort. Obviously set up the Curtis Jones goal. Scored 2 himself today, which, by the way, puts him now clear at the top of that chart with 37 games in which he has both scored and assisted a goal. Moves him one clear of Wayne Rooney out on his own. Look, need I say it? John, where's the money? Particularly for this man. Pay up. Mohamed Salah was brilliant in that second half. I've given him a score of 9.5. And you guys not too far behind with an average score of 9.3. Darwin. There's no defending it. There isn't. And I'm also never going to be convinced that he didn't bottle out of the one at the far post when he slid in. I felt like he could have got on the end of that, and I felt like he seen the post coming and kind of half backed out of it. Maybe you think differently, but even that aside, pathetic. Not good enough. Nowhere near the level required. And he's had chance after chance, and I've tried to keep defending him, and I'm not saying that we won't see him again this season, but that's not going to be good enough to keep him at Liverpool Football Club. It just isn't. There's nothing else I can really add here. I'm sure you're all as disappointed in his performance as I am. I've given him a score of 3. And you guys, pretty much the same, have gone for a 3.1. And I don't want to hear in the chat about Nunez hate or any of that crap, because that is an indefensible performance. You cannot sit there and say anything other than that was horrible from Darwin. It isn't hate if it's a fact, and he wasn't great. That is a fact. Dominic Szoboszlai, again, did a lot when he came on. Maybe a few people surprised he didn't start. I'm not. You know, him and Jones seem to be swapping in and out. Did well when he came on. And, you know, what I took from today was, yes, it hurt at the end the way we let the game go, but we did show courage and balls to come back into it from being behind, I think, twice, if my memory's right. And, yeah, so that's what I choose to take from this game. Saturday becomes a bigger game, though, because it then becomes a wobble if you don't get the 3 points. But I thought Dom was good when he came on, so I've given him a score of 6.5. Next up is Luis Diaz, who many of us feel probably should have been on the pitch a little bit earlier, maybe even at half time. Again, no shortage of endeavour when he came on, work rate and effort, and we were just going gung-ho at that point. So I've given him a score of 6. You guys have gone a little bit higher with a score of 6.4. Trent, well look, I think it's very clear that when he came on the pitch, we looked like a far different animal. We looked more stable defensively, we looked far better in attack, and our balance on the right hand side looked better. Again, this should be a reminder to everybody, including the owners, of why it's pivotal Trent stays around. I've given him a score of 7.5, and you guys got a little bit higher with a 7.7. And last up, the manager, whom I haven't had many things to disagree with this season, and certainly haven't had many reasons to be critical of him. I will stand over my comments about him playing right back with QUANSAH. It was just the wrong decision. I would have wanted substitutions a bit earlier as well. So taking all that into account, you know, he's still done a great job, by the way, don't get me wrong, but we take each game on its own merit. So I have given him a score of 7 today, and you guys not too far away, you've gone for a 6.8. So that is the end of the Anfield Agenda player ratings. Just a reminder what we have coming up tomorrow. I'm going to be recording with David Lynch. That's going to be out early tomorrow evening. And of course we'll be live tomorrow evening as well with the late night agenda. I know it's frustrating. I know it hurts. But it is just a draw. A draw in a game that we were behind in, and show courage to come back in. It hurts the way it came about, of course. Kelleher made an unusually for him a mistake, and we were punished by it. But we have to respond to it with 3 points against Everton. And then we're back where we want to be. So look, I will chat to you guys tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to drop a like on it. Let us know your thoughts. And of course, hit that subscribe button. Lots of love as well to our sponsors, Manscaped. Thank you for your continued support. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.